now is the time of the Christmas gift, that will become a feature film with the title Emergency Exit by Romanian director Bogdan Muresanu. As usual, first the screening and then the meeting with Bogdan Muresanu. Bogdan Muresanu. Please, Bogdan. Okay. I feel that you are coming. Okay. Warm welcome. The microphone maybe is over there. I think it's working. Like this, I think. I don't know. Someone. Technical. Well, 30 years from that revolution, what are you preparing for celebrating, analyzing, and so on? Please, the time is yours.
Thank you so much for having me here with the project. Tell the truth, I'm a bit nervous because I was ready to have a bit of time in the previous speech, but
could you please?
All right. Yeah. Okay. So the project is called Emergency Exit. It's a title which might be changed. It's a project which was inspired by this short. It's not exactly along these lines, but the theme is the same. It's about the last day of communism, or at least last day when communism was still monolithic, on the 20th of December 1989. And it's a black humor comedy, and I wonder why it's a black humor comedy, because I didn't intend to make it like that, but I thought a lot why it's so, let's say, humorous. People laugh at the ordeals the character go through. And I presume that is like that because we are 30 years after, and it seems absurd, and that's why we don't know. I mean, though, to tell the truth, I can feel some traces of the past in what's nowadays Europe and the world. So it's not exactly a historical piece as I wished to be. It's a bit also commentary about the present times. So yes, a bit of a bitter laughter, or to tell the truth, a bit of a, I don't know, a thoughtful commentary of what unfortunately could become Europe in the future. I hope not. It will. Anyway, I hope it will be just a historical piece and nothing else. It's a study with 4 stories. They are intermingled, they are intertwined. I'm going to tell you one of the stories, or maybe more if I have time. An actress is summoned to reshoot a piece of the broadcast for the New Year's Eve. The piece of the broadcast has to be reshoot because another actress has fled to western part of Europe, and now she's talking badly about, on Radio Free Europe, about the communist regime. So they can't broadcast the piece. But the actress doesn't want to do it, obviously, because it will be shameful, and it's a bit purposeless. There's a feeling that the regime might collapse. So she's ready to do anything she's in power not to be in that show, like bruising her face, taking out a tooth or something like this. But she will be forced to do it. She will do it with, for no reason, actually. It's like Sisyphus on a pile of garbage, you know. Another story is about a worker who would be blackmailed to become the last informant, to become an informant, but he will do it. But again, purposeless, because next day the regime would collapse and he would be just the last informant. Now talking about a bit the style, because all these stories are true, sorry. So there's no need to push. They are already absurd. So this documentary style in which I shot this piece, I think it's suitable to achieve what I want, like recreating those times with a purpose that I just told you. What else is to say? Oh, I don't.
Okay, already finished. There is time, just 1 minute, because I want to ask you at which state is your work now, as talking about screenplay and co-producers, producers. In which situation you are now?
We already have some funding from Romanian state, so we're planning to shoot next year. The project has been into Mediterranean Film Institute, so I'm working on, let's say, what would be, I hope, a final draft of the piece. And we are looking for co-producer mainly, to tell the truth, post-production, sound and color grading.
All the 4 episodes will be shot entirely, totally in Romania?
Yeah, totally in Romania, yes.
The set will be in Romania?
Everything will be shot in Romania, yes.
Thank you, Bogdan.
Thank you very much. Thanks a lot.
All the best.
Thanks.
Grazie. I have to say that Emergency Exit is a real interesting title regarding almost every one of us in Europe, maybe. Let's go to Philippines. Not finally, because we have to come back to France, as you know. The film is Babylon, because also the short film is titled Babylon, by Keith Deligero, who is not here, can't be here, but we have the pleasure of in meeting right after the screening, Gail Osorio, who is the screenplayer. So let's go to the Philippines, even in this case, historical sense of film. I don't know. Okay, great. Well, Gail Osorio, you are also involved in production of this film, not only as a screenplayer. I read the statement of the director. She could be, the film would be a metaphor for the long-term relation by Philippines with violence and with music and the future and the past. So please explain to us.
Hello again, so I'm Gail, I'm from the Philippines, and I wrote the short film Babylon, which we are developing into a feature. So this is my director, Keith Deligero. I've been a long-time collaborator of his, and his films are always harsh pastiche of punk, metal, and sonic disturbances, and he is considered a new voice in Philippine cinema. And this is Supacha Tipsena, our producer from Thailand. She is here with me today, and she will join me during the one-on-one meetings. She has experience going into project markets like Asian Project Market, Berlinale Co-Production Market, and Cannes L'Atelier. So the film is about these 2 girls, Dawn and Sab. So they will travel back in time to revise the past so they can reinvent their present. And they are members of the KKK. But it's not what you're thinking. The KKK is a revolutionary society founded in 1892. It means kataas-taasang kagalang-galangang katipunan ng mga anak ng bayan. In English, the Honorable and Venerable Society of the Children of the Nation. We owe the independence that we enjoy today to the bravery of the KKK. So Dawn and Sab, they live in this quasi-futuristic world where sentient artificial intelligent beings have taken over. So AI as the oppressor. And in wanting to take back human control, the youth have risen up in revolt, bringing back the KKK. So their mission is to go back to the 70s because it's a very important time in our history, and they're going to kill this man. But they know that the mission is a high-risk mission. Altering the past has very strong consequences, and they could end up disappearing, like not existing at all. So on their way to the past, they end up in the wrong time. They end up in the early 1900s. And they got entangled in this war between the Filipinos and the American, and it ends up in a very bloody episode. So after the Philippine-American War, they finally reached their final destination, the 70s. So they are in this small village up in the mountains, ruled by this small town dictator. who is called Tituloy. So Tituloy, he murders people for political gain, and Don and Sab are here to end this violence. So after they have killed everyone that they have to kill, they drive into the horizon and they disappear. Like they never existed at all. So the change in time will be represented by 3 different narrative treatments, visual treatments. So the first part will be a very minimalistic, futuristic tone. The second will be slow, meditative cinema. And then the third will be just like the short film, splatter and trash cinema. So the short film was, it's taken from the third narrative, the very last part. It's a world that plays with lo-fi sci-fi, politics, satire, black comedy, even has a talking chicken. But somehow people manage to resonate with the film because it somehow still manages to represent our reality. And the reality is that we are children of revolutions. And revolutions happen like refrain in a song. It repeats. And since the birth of our independence, we have continued to fight violence with violence. And this is what we want to say in this film. It's about our long-term relationship with violence and how we want to end this relationship, this cycle, with the help of the younger generation and our girls, Don and Sab. So our estimated budget is 370,000 euros. We have 14,000 already secured, with an estimated release in the first quarter of 2021. For the feature, we are open to shoot the futuristic part outside of the Philippines. It will also have a lot of VFX scenes which we will need help with. And a lot of the supporting roles will be open to international actors. So we are here today, well, first, to look for European partners to help open up doors for funding. But most importantly, we want to help foster long-term collaboration between Europe and Asia. Sorry, not yet. Yeah, we are aiming high for this project because we believe in its international appeal. Because conflict it's not only in our country, it's not only in Asia. This legacy of violence touches everyone. And that concludes my presentation. Hope to meet you all in the meeting. Thank you for listening.
Okay. Those are French colors. Those are French colors, okay, linked to the next project. Well, and music will be important.
Yeah, very.
Okay, in the film.
Yep.
Okay, special kind of Philippine cinema confrontation with the other many important films from Philippines, from Maestri, from Philippines. We just saw recently in many important festivals. All the best. Thank you, Gail Osorio. And now we have, grazie, we have to, again, on commence encore, on recommence. On espère que tout va bien. Enfin, finally, Sylvain Robineau. Okay.
Thank you. Sorry, you saw it 3 times.
Cool.
Hope you enjoy. three Sabine.
Okay. You have 7 minutes to speak about. In your statement, there is a phrase in which you say that it's a tragicomedy. I can add that there is also cinema about cinema, in a certain sense, a sort of, and the eternal relationship, complicated and absurd relationship between man and woman, love and whatever. So, please explain to us what's about Sabine, how many Sabine we are going to see.
Okay. So I start with the story. So the story starts in the darkness of a bedroom. We see a man laying in his bed. He listens through a newspaper, and he switches off the light and starts snoring. All of a sudden, we hear a great noise coming from the courtyard. It's a man crying out, "Martin, Martin!" And so the lights turns on. Patrick, in his 60s, he has big wrinkles and big rings under his eyes. And Patrick goes out his bed and goes down in the courtyard to see what happens. Here he finds his neighbor, Nasser, totally drunk, crying Martin in the middle of the trash bins. And we hear all around the neighbors screaming at the window, "Shut up with Martin, enough. Martin, she's not there, she's at the beach. Martin, she's in my bed, come join us," and stuff like this. Patrick helps Nasser standing up and put it on his back. He looks used to this situation. So he goes to the lift with Nasser and goes up. Coming out the lift with Nasser laying on his shoulder, he sees his young neighbor Laura. Laura, she's filming her cat, walking backward like this and throwing confettis, trying to attract him in her apartment. So Patrick, it's a bit fascinated. He looks at Laura, filming with her smartphone, few seconds, and then he goes to Nasser's apartment, open it, and help Nasser goes in his bed. Back at his place, Patrick put off his shoes and is attracted by all the confetti stuck under the sole, on the sole of his shoes. At this point, he has an idea, something click in his mind, but we'll see later what kind of idea. The morning after, Patrick is at work. He is the owner of a video club. He's with Régis. Régis is the guy that will that will buy his lead. Régis will turn the video store into an electronic cigarette store, a vapodrome. Because Régis is very enthusiastic, he explained to Patrick that electronic cigarette is the future. He explains too that Netflix is the best invention of the century and that DVDs are totally obsolete. Despite of the inappropriate words of Régis, Patrick said, you can take few DVDs if you want, I give it to you, you can watch it with your wife, for example. Régis burst into tears and fall in the arms of Patrick. Patrick is moved, he tries to minimize his generosity, but Régis explained that he's not crying of joy, he's crying of pain because his wife Mireille just left him 3 days ago. So at night, Patrick is in his kitchen and he's plugging a microphone on his smartphone and he's making some tests. 1, 2, 3, check, 1, 2, 3, check. And suddenly we hear a great noise in the courtyard. Martin, Martin! So he goes down, help Nasser going up, and help Nasser go to his apartment. And he make a proposition to Nasser to help him. He proposed to Nasser to go to make a tribute for his ex-wife Martin. So the morning after, they go in the wood and they shoot Martin together. They shoot with the smartphone and the microphone. Back at his place, Patrick has a problem. He does not know how to edit his movie. So he goes to ask to his neighbor, Laura, to ask for help. He shows her a few rushes of the day. She fakes interest, but she's really skeptical. But she accepts to teach him a few rudiments of editing. At this point, Patrick will multiply the experiences of shooting and will make many films with video club clients. For example, he will shoot with Régis an homage film to his wife Mireille. A funny movie. One evening, Patrick goes to Laura's apartment unexpectedly because he needs some editing advice. Front of the door is ajar and there is a party in the Laura's place. So he cautiously looks, he watches what happened, and he catches a clandestine projection of Martin's rushes. And all the Laura's friends are laughing and booing in front of the images. So Patrick feels really, really deeply betrayed, and a big dispute bursts between the two, between Laura and Patrick. Laura first tries to apologize, but she faces a big rage of Patrick and she attacks him on his hypocrisy. She says, according to her, he's hiding behind the sadness of others to hide his own sadness. Patrick, at this point, does not want to speak or to see Laura anymore, but her words had a deep echo in his mind. So he, at such a point that he will make a dream. In that dream, he's cruising on his bed in the night in the city, and he sees his ex-wife Sabine on the side of the road, hitching a ride with a cardboard with Patrick on it. He stops, she goes on the bed, and they have a long discussion about their old relationship and the reason why they split. After this dream, the day after, Patrick decides to make his own movie, homage to, and to fight his own melancholy, to do his own movie, Sabine. Few days after, Patrick finds in his mailbox a DVD called Patrick, and with the Laura's face on the cover. He watches it, and it's a very, very touching and funny movie that Laura makes for Patrick, to apologize and to restore their friendship. So after this movie, they restore their friendship and they start again editing together. 2 months later, in the video club, we see a full rack of DVDs, Joséphine, Nadia, Nathalie, Sabine, etc. And a woman attracted by the Martin DVD. So she asked Patrick, what is it? And he explained that it's a really, really confidential director that makes all those movies. He's at the forefront of the Nouvelle Vague française. And after a long discussion, she bought the DVD and she go back at her place. She watched the movie, very moved. She grabbed the phone and called Nasser. Hello, Nasser, it's Martin. The last scene of the movie is a long shot of the front of the store that now turned into a Vapodrome, an electronic store. The camera moves slowly up to the apartment above and stops on Patrick at his window, smoking a cigarette and looking at the camera. End of the movie. So now, it's okay?
It's almost okay.
Almost
we are
okay?
Last
Yeah,
statement.
so that's it. So Sabine starts like...
and the screenplay we gathered is completed. It's ready to be shot. But nowadays, in which situation you are?
So me and my producer, we are. I have a treatment. I have the story. I started to write the script, and we are looking for partners to develop the project. Our film labs that would welcome us to work on it. Voilà.
Okay, thank you. And,
Merci beaucoup.
And again, apologize for this inconvenience. Okay, grazie. Thank you everybody. Grazie Sylvain, Robineau.